So my friend Wendy Riggs asked me if I would make a video describing how I put together one of my classes. So I decided to use English 18. This course was was offered in spring of 2019, and it's basically follows the same pattern that I use for other classes that I've done online. So I have the front page with the announcements. I find that it probably is very useful for the students to have the announcements coming in for them during the whole semester. I also put an introductory welcome video right at the top, and I give students all this material that helps them to navigate the web and use CR's Canvas system. I also put Purdue Online Writing Lab there, other things that were available that time. I always like to put an image of myself here too, and there's a very important work of art, Charles Dumas. I heard the number 5, and I use that because it's part of American literature period that we're going to be discussing. Everything in my class usually happens in the modules, and that's one of the things I tell the students right off the bat. And you can see that I set it up. This is the regular semester class, and I made 6 modules and an additional module that keeps all the syllabus and course documents. I also started doing a separate module of just the videos for the class, which I'm going to start doing again as well, because students, I find, will go back and watch a video. So here we go. I always start them off with an introduction, so they have surveys that they fill out with questions that I have, and then there are videos and everything else, and their first essay is right in here, and I've been making these pages with videos in them, and these videos describe the era, and this kind of gives a map, and it talks about the demographics of the United States post-Civil War. The class is American Literature 1865 to the present. So I make these videos as kind of like their lecture, sort of their brief lectures, and then I give them a lot of materials to go with. So this is a kind of a place where they can wander around and learn more about these items that will become very useful for them during the course. And of course, as you all know, if you've been using Canvas, they can just click on the next button, and they've been given a complete description about how to use Canvas. Then I have these pre-reading inquiry questions where I get the students to try to survey one another and talk to each other, and you'll see that there's information and material in there that they've been talking to one another about prior to their reading. And then the reading, generally, I move them from those pre-reading inquiry questions into whole class discussions. And in the whole class discussion, I usually try to prime them with a video, and here's another video of me, and then the students will go into their discussions after they read their literature for the class and then watch the video. And I also will then have the essay at the end of that semester, so that at the end of that module. So that whole module kind of moves them towards this short one-page essays. And in this class, I use one-page essays throughout each of the modules, and then they have longer essays at different periods during the modules. So I like to move the students from I put them in small groups and then move them to larger groups, and I find that this helps them to get to know each other a little bit better, and it creates a greater sense of community for the class when students are working together in small groups first and then moving into the larger class discussion. And that's the way the course runs. I call them window on their world, and this is a video. What I do is, like here you can see, I took covers from Life magazine issues and talked to them about the 1960s, the 1950s, 60s, and early 70s, kind of towards the last semester of the last module for the course. And I found that to be really useful. It gives them a sense of like what was current in the media at that time. And when I was growing up in the 60s, Life magazine came to our house, I think, once a week. Maybe there were a couple of weeks where it didn't come, but and it was always giving you what was kind of the top of the news right on the front cover, and it turned out to be a really useful way to walk people through historical periods and reference. I gave them a lot of other materials apart from that, but I found that those brief videos kind of encapsulating center points of that period for literature and for history. So you can see I talked about the Gilded Age. This one, the Window on Their World, America After the Civil War, talks a little bit about transcendentalism and the poetry of Emily Dickinson. And then we walked into the Gilded Age. Age. We talk about Twain and Mark Twain's concept of the Gilded Age and how it was described. And when we move into realism, naturalism, regionalism, and then we go into literary modernism. And so I did a whole video about modernism too. So and then they do individual reading selection reports. It's fairly diverse, a lot of different things, activities that they're doing during this course of the semester. I tried to build as much into it content so that they can have ideas about what's going on beyond just the reading that they're doing. And that's kind of the course that I built.